It is indeed another beautiful morning. And from you hear that sound at this time of the day, you know what time it is. It is time for our mid-morning program, Final Decision. We are here again, but we are not alone. So let us talk about us first. Of course, I am Mark Maitland from The Garden of Paradise Funeral Home.
And I am Errol Green from Exodus Funeral Home.
And of course, last week, this time, we had a young man in the guest seat talking to us about not only his experience in the funeral industry, but also the impact the industry has had on him and the impact he intends to have on the funeral industry. And of course, I told you that this week we'll be highlighting another young professional in the funeral industry. And this time we not only have a young professional, but we have a young female in the industry.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you Mrs. Cody Johnson Brown. Mrs. Brown, welcome to the program Final Decision.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
It is good to finally get you on the program.
Yes, Mrs. Brown. We're hoping to have you for some time now. But we realize that you have a very busy
Very
schedule.
busy.
Yeah?
Right.
Business go on.
Yeah. Listeners, last week we had young Mr. Green talking to he's affiliated with the Exodus Funeral Home. And of course, as expected, Mrs. Johnson Brown is affiliated with the Garden of Paradise Funeral Home. And so, she's just here this morning to share her experience in the funeral industry and just to give you an insight as to what happens in the life of a young professional from a feminine perspective. Because as you know, most people believe or still believe that the industry should be dominantly, it should be a male dominant.
Right.
So Mrs. Johnson Brown, welcome. How long have you been in the funeral industry?
I've been in the funeral industry for approximately 9 years, going on to 10.
Okay.
I would say, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Green, I don't know if it's something with the guest mic, but you realize that the same thing that Terrell did last week, she's doing the nice sexy voice I'm not hearing.
Yes.
So I wanted to use your real voice and speak into the microphone.
Yeah, you can put on a sexy voice at the end of the
At
program.
the end of the program because we're going to allow you to close off the show.
Right.
All right? So, I know, as I said before, it's a male-dominant industry. Have you ever faced any prejudice because you're a female?
Oh, a lot. Many. No, I really enjoy driving the hearse to funerals.
Okay.
And oftentimes when I drive whenever I turn up and enter the church ground, persons will be looking like, why is that girl driving the hearse? This is shocking. And they look at you they're amazed at the fact that a female now is driving hearse. Because before, as we would have known, that profession was really cover men,
right,
and not females. And even when I go to funerals and they ask who do the dressing and the fixing up of the deceased, and I would say me, and they
say, yeah.
No, they're like, you're not afraid. They're like, oh, you do it. And then I would get the comment of, I heard that me here say, if you look about dead, you're ugly. So, oh, you so pretty. So oftentimes, those are the little things that they don't expect females to be a part of because they're so used to men being in control in that area.
Mrs. Brown, I can attest to what you're saying and in total agreement with you. I remember in my early years in the funeral business, when I started to use female to drive for me in St. Mary, it was something new at that side.
Because
right?
they don't expect
and
it
I get
from
a lot
females.
of comment, a lot of compliment, and people even start to request them.
Yes.
People bring business to my funeral home because they want to see those females.
Yes. And people,
it was a new thing, they have never
true.
seen that before.
And Mark can tell you, they will specifically ask for the brown girl to drive the funeral.
Right.
So his clients would ask, please, to send the brown girl to drive. Because they don't want the men anymore.
Yeah, nobody wants to see me anymore.
Especially if the deceased is a man.
Right.
They want the female to drive him. So it's really something new, and I'm happy that we're at this stage in the profession, because too often we feel like we are professions are then gender biased, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a situation, or gender based, I should say. It should be a situation where, because you are a female, you're not able to do construction, or because you're a female, you're not able to deal with dead people. That shouldn't be the situation.
So I think you've gone into what my next question would be. How do you deal with criticism and biases?
I mean, the good ones, I'm like, yes, that's me, especially when I go to funerals in the country areas and I have to park at a specific angle or on the edge of some mountain, or I have to, they notice how I maneuver the earth when I go to certain places, or just the look of how the look of the deceased when we open the casket. So if it's good, I'm like, okay. And I take constructive criticism very well. So if it's bad, I'm like, it doesn't really bother me much. But if it's good, I have a little blush on the shoulder for the entire day.
Well, that is human. If you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, your mid-morning program, Final Decision. You're used to having two voices, that of Mr. Errol Green and mine. But today we have a rose among the thorn, a beauty among the handsomes. Because I'm not thorn in this. Yeah, beauty among the handsomes. Mrs. Cody Johnson Brown, who is a young professional in the funeral industry, a young funeral director and mortician by right. So we are having this conversation with her, and so we thank you so very much for joining on to the conversation and joining in. Now, my question for you before we go into the break, Mrs. Johnson Brown, seeing what is happening currently in the funeral industry, and this is a question that I asked Young Green last week, and he trust me, I love the answer. How do you think we can improve on the services that we offer in the funeral industry?
This is unpopular opinion, but we can improve if the persons are willing to pay their money. Because so often the clients want the best of the best, but they're not willing to pay the money that requires the best of the best. So also we can improve, and also we go to the point where, like, can we stop having funeral homes that are not registered, persons who are not morticians, standing at the bedside of individuals waiting for them to die and give the industry a bad name? Can we stop having persons who are not professionals giving out free, I can give you a package for 100,000. Like, we know that's not possible. And because you know that persons are in need, you sometimes use that, and when it comes to cost, everybody wants a cheaper package.
So that they just get their attention.
They use it to get their attention, and as a result, you don't get proper service because they're not professionals. They're not a part of the industry. They're not registered morticians, and that will sometimes give the industry a bad name, a bad look, because I'm not use a funeral home again, or I'm gonna stick to the prominent funeral homes because the last time I used a little man from down a town, this happened to me. So if we can move away from the fakeness of these, I don't even know what do you call them, illegal morticians and funeral directors who have a little house down a town and feel like, say, them a mortician.
Yeah, Mrs. Brown, in relation to the question that Mr. Maitland asked you, I respect your brave answer.
Yeah.
You have said something that probably a lot of people would not have said.
Right.
Right? You have said that if they pay the proper money, you understand? You know, some people will shy away from saying that because, it requires money to improve any organization, any industry.
Correct.
And because when I come into the business, there's some funeral home I know for 15 years, and they are still at the same place.
Same place.
Why? Because they're not getting the proper money to improve their organization, improve themselves. You understand? So once the proper money is being paid, the service will be improved. Things will be improved.
And they're not
You're right.
They're not moving, not because maybe they don't, they're not getting the proper money, but also because they're charging cheap.
That's what I'm saying.
So you can't be doing 10 funerals for the week and only getting $50,000. Like, come on.
Right.
That
So that's why I said.
So the discussion, ladies and gentlemen, the discussion
I like your
moving,
answer. I'm very, satisfied.
Speedily. But Mr. Green, Mrs. Johnson Brown, we have to take a break because that's how we pay the bills here. So we're going to move into a break, and when we come back, we will continue the discussion with our guest today.
Won't last forever. Won't last forever. And if you trust in the Lord, your nights will turn.
The time brought to you by the Manchester Co-op Credit Union 1977 Limited Property Loan. Telephone 876-962-0401 is 11:45.
Black Friday Mega Madness. Black Friday Mega Madness. Black Friday Mega Madness. We have never had a sale this big. Get ready, Jamaica. This one is massive. It's the Black Friday Mega Madness weekend, November 24 to 26 at Home and Things. Every single item in store is 30 to 70% off this Friday only. And catch the Saturday and Sunday specials too. Black Friday Mega Madness weekend is on at Home and Things, Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. It's a Mega Madness weekend.
All bakers are cake time, and cake time costs Cal's fruit wine. For cooking, sauces, any kind of bake, use Cal's fruit wine. Don't hesitate, Cal's is high in quality, specially fermented. It's smooth, you see, more affordable. Come in 3 sizes with Cal's fruit wine, you save money wise. Caterers, housewives, you'll be amazed. You know you can use Cal's in so many ways. Bake time is a great time. All good bakers know the good wine. Cal's fruit wine bakes it better.
It will get better. It will get better. Won't last forever. Won't last forever. And if you trust in the Lord, He'll not.
Welcome back to this your program, Final Decision, aired every Monday and Thursday on this station. We thank you so very much for staying with us. And if perhaps for whatever reason you just have the opportunity to join us, we want to welcome you. We're having a very lively discussion today with our guest and funeral professional, funeral director, Mrs. Cody Johnson Brown. And before the break, we were talking about things that we could do to basically improve service delivery in the industry. And she started a topic that, boy, was about to get heated. But I'm going to cut it off because at the end of the day,
Yeah, we want to hear more from her.
we're going to need more time for this.
You're right.
So Mrs. Johnson Brown, how did you become interested in serving in the funeral industry?
I've always wanted to become a mortician from I was a child. That was a profession that growing up I wanted to become a mortician. And my mommy was like, no, as you know, the Jamaican believe that don't carry it up in my house. So now I come with that profession. But then I pursued my dream, and I remember going to a funeral once of a friend, and when they opened the casket, the look of my friend was not what I wanted to keep as a memory for the rest of my life. And I said I needed to be a part of the change to provide the service and offer to clients who I believe you should see your loved one in the best of the best on that final day. So I came in and I decided that, listen, I'm going to be a mortician, because I can't take the ugly up in my funeral. I feel like people should dress good and look good and not do a lot of makeup on their face. I just don't like it. And that was one of the reasons I said, listen, I need to do this because I can make a change in the industry. And I'm here now.
All right.
And I think I'm making the change so far.
Right.
So since being in the industry and involved in all that is happening, is there any area that you believe, maybe not now, but you're thinking of down the road that you don't want to specialize in? Maybe embalming, reconstruction, cosmetics, hearse and casket, decor, planning.
I like the little earth things, I like driving the earth. Like, I have fun. I enjoy myself when I'm driving. It gives me peace. But I would really want to specialize more in reconstruction and see if I can grow in that area a little bit more. But I think for now, I think I'm going to stick by the little earth driving thing.
Yeah, I like that. And as you said, that's something that's come to my mind. And I would love for our listeners, especially those who have interest in the funeral home, in the funeral industry, driving the earth is not just like driving an ordinary car.
No, it's not.
Right? And some of the music that I hear coming from the earth, I wonder what the drivers are thinking. If they remember that they are transporting someone, loved ones, to their final place of rest. Right? That person, although he or she cannot hear anything or see anything,
But we have to
that's supposed to
respect.
carry with
Yes.
pride and dignity and and the whole, respect.
Yes.
So you're carrying someone loved one.
I was at Tedford on Sunday, and I was one of the deceased family member came to me and said, why, because he came from a different funeral home, and he was saying, why is it that you're not playing any Cartel and Chronics Law? And before I could even answer, there was a gentleman who said, no, from I know Gardner Paradise Funeral Home, them not play them that type of song there, because we believe we should, we have to be professional in everything that we do. And I should not be taking someone loved one and playing some derogatory music in the back. Like, it doesn't look good. It doesn't
driving the
sound good.
high point. Mr. Maynard, can you think of it? Your grandmother, who you love and cherish and respect.
Oh, Lord, we got church
the
every
root
day.
of your family, right? And she's been taken out to the cemetery.
With a
After you
chronic
go to
law.
church, go pay your final respect your granny, and they hear Java play a song like, I'm mad, me, I'm mad.
Exactly.
But I want you to look at something else, because what persons don't understand, that service does not end after the burial. So persons will say, all right, then they do everything to the T on the way to the church, from the church to the burial. But after they leave the burial to go either back to the funeral home or wherever the hearse is based, you play anything. The fact of the matter is your brand is still on that vehicle. And you're sending a message to the onlookers. And I've always said that. As long as your brand is on the vehicle, whatever comes from that vehicle is representative, is a representation of what you believe.
I agree.
And some funeral home director would said, you know what me do? Me make sure, say, when they finish now, I take off my name off of the vehicle. No. Tell them not to do it.
Tell them not to do it. But maybe, and some of the time, as we know, funeral directors, some of them don't really hire any professionals to drive,
I don't
So
even want
we
you
just
to
feel like some brother can drive on earth.
Right.
And me I bring him a brother come give him a bus.
Yeah.
But really and truly, this a brother I don't know how for do nothing. Him not professional at all, and when him call funeral him a smoke or him gone over the bar and him come play the derogatory songs. So I mean, who knows better do better.
Yeah, man. I Mrs. Brown, I like what you're saying. And as a young professional in the business,
Yeah, man. And like we're always about lifting the standards
Definitely.
to where it is supposed to be.
because we are here to protect the integrity of the industry.
Right. And
not just to try to build our brand.
No.
People
But
believe that
industry.
we're trying to make a standard for the industry. No, we're not trying to make one. There is one.
There
that
is a
exists, you know.
standard.
We're
There is a
just
standard.
trying to remind everyone that the standards are there. Let us keep them.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time I was suspended from a funeral home, because I work in the industry before, starting my own business.
Yeah.
And I was suspended because the pastor finished and we were not present at the door.
Hi.
And the boss heard that we were outside.
Galandry.
No, just drinking something. No alcohol, no. When we should be at the door
Can you come to work?
paying attention to what is happening. You know what he said to us? What if something had happened to the casket during the time of service?
You couldn't
What
rely
if the
on your
wreath,
assistant.
the casket piece fall off? You should be there to see that.
Yeah.
That's true. And sometimes they come with additional wreaths, and you're nowhere to be found.
You are nowhere to be
To
found.
put it on the casket or to put it on the wreath stand. So really, we're at work. You should behave like it's not an office, but we should
You should,
respect our
there's
job.
You're offering your
there's no
service.
You're
space or
offering a
time, Mr.
service,
Maitland,
yes.
for the funeral attendant, right? To be outside drinking or smoking or talking. They should be paying attention.
Attention to
What
what
about
you
if a family member go up to read the lesson and can't manage? You should be there to go up there and assist her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mrs. Johnson Brown seems like a very brave soul, like nothing bothers her now. But all of us at some point have had something that intimidated us.
Right.
To date, what has been the most intimidating thing you have faced while serving? To date.
To date, oh Lord. That's a tricky question. I can't think of any at the moment. I can't think of any at the moment. I can't think of any at the moment. I
Okay.
don't think anything intimidate me.
All right. Has there ever been any? Is there anything that kind of put you off? Then kind of rile you up.
Oh Lord, Can we go back to the clients who believe that because we're young people who don't know the value of money? Can we go back to the conversation where, because when they come into the funeral home and they see that I'm a young lady and they're like, she not past 20 or she not past 22, and they try beg out the liquor work, like you would not go to your doctor office and beg them to reduce their costs. So why are you coming to funeral homes and asking them to reduce their costs? And the problem is, when they ask us to reduce our costs, when you go to funerals, the repast is bigger than anything, goat, cow, chicken, and you have on them shirts.
And that's not a necessity.
And those are not things that you need
Right.
to ensure that the person go down in a respectable manner. But what they believe is they want to reduce your price and they will beg off your price. That's just that irritates me. I don't like it. Don't come. We're a business. We have to make money. This industry is not cheap. It is, and then what sometimes annoys me is the fact that they're willing to pay Medaris and Dovecote for that one little spot, the thousands of dollars, but want to give us the same thousands of dollars. That little bit, don't want to give us the money to do our many things that need to be done in order to render the service to you. So you're paying for one little grave.
I have no problem with that.
No problem with that. Because they cannot ask Dovecote or Medaris to reduce their prices.
And that is a big problem, that not only, we're not the only ones unique to that. There are other funeral homes who are led by young persons. And that is the main challenge you find. Once, when they talk to persons over the phone, everything's okay. But when they come to you and you're interacting with them and they realize that you are under 50,
yes,
under 40, they're like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. And so automatically, the value of your goods is supposed to go down.
Yeah.
And the fact remains that we have to pay the
Bills.
same amount that everybody else has to pay
Thank
in
you.
order to procure whatever you need.
And one of the rude things that they will say to you also, because I started out many years ago, me a boss you, man, me a boss you.
Yeah.
Just remember say, I mean, I bring you good in the community the first, or bring you go. Yeah, we are offering a service. You understand? We have expenses too. We have things to pay for.
Yeah.
You know,
but they don't see it that
way.
way. They don't see that. They think that, listen, I'm going to come here and I'm going to beg out your price. Don't
and
do
they are watching, may I spend $50? But remember that the figure you are spending, that's not a profit.
That's not a profit.
That's not a profit.
Come on.
Because,
we have to,
out of that $50, you have to pay for everything,
that you want.
And you know, Mr. Green, that is the reason why most persons are of the opinion that the funeral industry is a money-making industry. And the truth is, it's a very false narrative,
Right.
Very.
The fact is, what is needed to run the industry costs. And so, because of that, the costs are normally reflected in what we charge.
I mean, this is an industry run by money.
By money, but understand that money just spent with us don't stay with us.
No, it don't stay with us.
Yeah, we have to spend to get those things that you need to make your family funeral looks like what you want it to be.
Are we going to talk about the international clients who, if they're doing that overseas, if they were paying for a funeral overseas, the amount of money that they would have to pay compared to us in Jamaica is nothing. But they want to come to Jamaica and say to you,
that's too much.
$500 is too much money, but they're paying $2,000 back home.
When I have overseas clients, sometimes I shake, I tremble.
Oh Lord, it comes with a little bit of stress.
Because sometimes what they are paying for the burial spot over there.
I often have to remind them that I know that the cost for a grave is $13,000. I have to remind them.
Sometimes I have to tell them that.
Yeah, and the cost for a package here is less than the money for just the grave.
In America, you have to pay for
everything item by item.
Item by item.
But they don't think we know that. I have to remind somebody the other day
nothing for free.
We do funerals in Jamaica, Canada, US, and as far as Bermuda.
Yes,
so we know the cost.
You're paying for a funeral, the cheapest funeral in America right now. You're talking about some $7,000, $8,000 for the cheapest.
And most
funeral.
of them have to do GoFundMe to
that is over $1 million in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And when you ask them the same, a better funeral,
at $500,000.
At $500,000,
it's
it's too much.
Yes.
Oh Lord have mercy.
That's that because they don't want to pay.
This is a conversation, Mr. Green, and what we tend to find is that these conversations cannot be had in half an hour.
And I'm very happy that a young professional,
But
having that experience.
Last week we heard from young Terrell Green. Today we heard from young Cody Johnson Brown, and we hear what the youth have to say. We hear what those who will be the future of the business, we hear what they have to say. And listeners, I know that you really enjoyed these 2 sessions. We thank you very much for being here. Of course, this is our penultimate Thursday for this year. You know, next Thursday we'll put a lid on things and a lid on the program. So we thank you very much for having been with us for the past 6 months. Of course, this is your program, Final Decision. I am Mark Maitland.
I am Errol Green
And
from the Exodus Funeral Home.
And of course, we're going to allow our host to say the last piece.
I'm Cody Johnson Brown from the Garden of Paradise Funeral Home.
Thank you so very much for joining us. Catch you on Monday.
And if you trust in the Lord, your nights will turn to day. Just remember, it will get better.
Make XL Auto Parts your first stop for all your automotive parts and accessories for Toyota, Nissan, Honda, and other vehicles. Tires also available. Located at 95 and a half Hagley Park Road, Kingston. Call 426-1769.